Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to Come Well to another episode of Am I as I Am, as You Are. Uh, if you're already familiar with this video cast, um, I deal upon metaphysics. I deal with metaphysics and the occult, understanding OCCULT, occult or occultum, the metaphysical occult perspective and aspects of looking at certain things. Um, Today's topic is entitled What is Health and What is Illness? Or what is health and sickness? I'm looking at these things individually, but also infusing them into one understanding. Is health illness? Is illness health? Are these the same thing, or are these actually two separate things? Those of you who are familiar with this channel, you know we go uh, line for line, or what I coin doorway after doorway. And as I open these doorways, doorway after doorway, together we both walk down this hallway, okay, of knowledge and gnosis and understanding. Most importantly, incorporating and applying these principles. I touch upon principles, okay. I That's my path at the moment, dealing with principles from a metaphysical and occult way of understanding. So let the unfolding begin. Okay, so remember today's topic is what is health and what is sickness, or what is health and what is illness. Are these two different things? Or are these two actually just one thing? Okay, so let's go into the first line. The first line in the doorway is what is illness really? What really is illness? What really is this thing that we call sickness or illness? Illness or imbalance means, at a very simple way of understanding, voluntary favoritism, which means you're volunteering to be favored to something, or to give favor to something, or be favorable, or be in favor of something. Stop being in favor and do a favor. A favor for what? A favor to self. Stop being in favor and do a favor. A favor to self. Of course, you know, favoritism is just being on one side of the spectrum and not respecting both polarities of the spectrum. This is just another form or another way of understanding what illness is or what sickness can be, what these identifications or these energy identifications are um, within the body uh, and on the body. Okay, this happens from favoritism, favoring one side and the other, favoring good over bad, or favoring bad over good. You're not interweaving both of these polarities. You're leaving both in not woven together, not woven together. They're supposed to interweave. They're supposed to be interwoven. Bad and good, right and wrong, pure and evil. Okay. Yeah, you can't just only walk with the right leg and grab things only with your left arm. And you can't just walk with your left leg and only grab things with your right hand. See, they work together, which is why when you're walking down the street or walking anywhere, walking to the bathroom, walking to the kitchen, walking to the bedroom, wherever, out your house to your car, out your car to the store, through the store, back to the car, outside, inside. When your left leg comes out to make a step, the right arm swings out. When the right leg comes out to make the second step, the left arm swings out. So we know that these are two polarities that keep meeting each other. They keep meeting each other. The left meets the right and the right meets the left all the time. So as much as you favor the left, in other words, you have to favor the right. As much as you favor the right, you have to favor the left, which means that you have to be in the middle. Okay, this is another way of understanding how imbalance or illness may occur. So the imbalance is caused to, or illness is caused to imbalance in a certain way of understanding. Because in the metaphysics, true balance is imbalance, meaning having both sides shaking, but you're neither side, you're in the middle. like a seesaw, that big knot, that bolt that's in the middle. Nothing happens to that, but the seesaw looks like it's going up and down. But the bolt in the middle is the thing that gives movement to that wooden board for the seesaw to go up and down for the two kids to play, right? So you don't get caught in the two sides. You stay in the middle of the middle bolt that's turning the wooden plank of the seesaw. In other words, like I said, you can't just only walk with the right leg and grab things with your left arm and vice versa. You have to give acknowledgement and intent, action, and exercise to both paradigms of experience and existence. You have to give acknowledgement, intent, action, and exercise to both paradigms of existence and experience. So you have to give acknowledgement, intention, action, and exercise both of these polarities. You can't just favor one side or favor the other side. You have to embrace them both. Like, for example, what just hit me just now, somebody got twins. Just because they look alike doesn't mean that you just favor. It could be a boy and a girl twin. Just because the boy and the girl look alike, or two boys or two girls, you can't just favor the other because they look like them. You have to favor the other one too as well. And you favoring both kids, the look-alike is the spiritual principle. So you're acknowledging both sides, or acknowledging both kids, or acknowledging both sexes, boy and girl, or boy and boy, girl and girl, of the twins that you have. But the whole understanding of the middle is them being identical to each other. See, so no matter whether you're favoring the son over here or the son over here, both sides, you have two different experiences, but it's the same look, it's identical. So even these principles show up in nature and genetics, which is to get the metaphysical understanding of what's really actually happening, what's really taking place in that moment, besides what you think you're doing. Okay? The next line in our doorway is, how does physical uneasiness occur? How does physical sickness occur, or physical illness, or physical uneasiness occur? How does it occur? This is the process from mind and action into body and reaction, which is basically from vibe into chemical. It's like from air into water, from something that can't be seen but can be felt into something that can be felt and maybe even touched, which is once again the unphysical aspect into the physical aspect of understanding. So from mind and action into body and reaction, basically from vibe into chemical, because it causes a chemical reaction. Your anger, your happiness, your euphoric states, your blissful states, these are all different kind of chemicals within the body, like adrenaline, your hype, music is going on, or you're excited or anticipated or anxious to do something. That's a principle that you have a reason why you're excited to do something or anxious to do something. As that moment is present, there's a chemical reaction happening within the body. The adrenal glands, on top of the kidneys, causes the adrenaline rush. You see, so the blood starts flowing through the body a certain way. The heart starts beating a certain kind of beat to match the template of the mind and the intent and the action of the being before he starts or she starts doing something. So from mind and action into body and reaction, which is basically from vibe into chemical, from a vibe into a chemical form. Okay. The word vibe means action, state, and occurrence. Okay, when I say from mind and action into body and reaction, which is from vibe into chemical, you're sustaining something. You're making something an actual fact by keeping it in mind. So you can be angry, you can be pissed off in certain ways, and it's a mind thing. And then you get mad, and you punch the wall, it becomes action, and the body had just reacted to the action of the mind, which is why it's mind and action into body and reaction. See, and this is how it starts to occur. It starts to occur by becoming a chemical formula in the body. You see, in this embodiment, it starts, uneasiness occurs by first, when it the crossover from unphysical into something physical. The physical manifestation is when it first starts to reside and take place inside the body in a certain location and or locations within the body, in the body, and shows on the body. Okay, so but it first starts from mind, a decision to act out on that anger, to act out on that madness, to act out being upset. See, so from mind and action into body and reaction, this is how physical uneasiness occurs, which is what they call dis dash ease. And uneasiness has to first. Un is before dis, because it means dislocate or disorder, but there has to be an un. There has to be a un before there is a dis to the word, attached to the word ease. See, something has to be undone, and then when it's undone, then it's a disorder or dislocated out of its natural primary location where it resides. It now becomes a chemical reaction, a chemical formula. This is how physical uneasiness begins to occur within the body. So once again, from mind into action, and from that into body, which is the hand punching the wall, and reaction, like shit. See, it now made its crossover now into the physical realm. It crossed over, and you gave it permission to cross over just by your reaction, which means that you're lacking some kind of control and discipline because you reacted rather than responding and being conscious rather than being compulsive. See, reaction and compulse or compulsive, reactionary and compulsiveness is the opposite of response and consciousness. See? Oh, and also if you look at the word chemical, I also want to say the word vibe. The word vibe means action, state, and occurrence. That right there is self-explanatory. The vibe automatically turns into an action of some sort, and a state, meaning like a state of mind. And then an occurrence happens. The occurrence is the chemical reaction, but it's an internal physical occurrence that happens from the vibe. Okay, and you look at the word chemical. Chemical, pardon me, occurrence like that, like what occurs in your state of mind and the action taken from that occurrence. Once again, looking at the word vibe definition, which is action, state, and occurrence. State like state of mind, and occurrence like what occurs in your state of mind, and the action taken from that occurrence in the state of mind at that moment. Okay, now let's look at the word chemical. Chemical is really the word ka, Michael. Ka is spirit. Ka means spirit. Mikkel is actually Michael. So Ke Mikkel is Ka Michael, which means the spirit of the angel of war. Because you understand Michael, the archangel Michael. Michael was the angel of war. So you have Ka, which is spirit. So which means the spirit of the angel of war, which means the spirit of the angel of wear. WEAR, you now wear what you had in mind at one time, right? The mind and action turns into body and reaction, which is a chemical reaction. So now the chemical starts to create itself in the body. Now you are now wearing the chemical that was just once a vibe or an action or an intent in the mind of something that came, a certain anger or something that came to you. It was just something in the mind. It was just a vibe, the energy that was present. And you turn that energy into an entity. And when that happens, then now you now wear that spirit. So Ka Michael, which is chemical, Ka Michael, which means the spirit of the angel of war, which means your spirit now wears the wearing. the wearing of its mindset, which means you now wear what you think. You were just thinking it at first. It was a vibe, it was an energy that came. And now you are now wearing, it was just a thought. But now when the chemical reaction begins, you begin wearing that thought. You see? So it's the wearing of angles, which is the cornering of 90 degrees. And 90 degrees is where the heating begins, which is why you get hot, you get pissed off, you get mad, you get upset, you lose your cool, you start getting, losing yourself within your thought, within your brain, within your ego, or your egoistic state of mind, or state of being at that moment. So the spirit of the angel of war means the wearing of angles, because the word angel was angle, and an angle, you can look at the letter L, and right there, that angle is 90 degrees. So you begin to perspire, you get hot now. And see, when it reaches anywhere from 85 to 90 degrees, that's when it crosses over into heat. And this is when people say, yo, I'm heated right now, I'm hot, I'm pissed off, I'm mad, I'm heated right now. She got me heated, he got me heated. See, so now you are now wearing that thought. It was just a thought that you weren't wearing at first, but now you now wear it. You're not wearing like wearing it as a clothes. You're wearing the body. Always understand that. I always tell people, I say, what are you wearing? They say, oh, I'm wearing a t-shirt, pants. I say, no, you're wearing the body. Which means when the chemical creates, now you're now wearing the chemical. You're wearing the body, the angel of war, which is the angle of wear, or the wearing of angles, or the wearing of 90 degrees, or the consuming yourself within heat now, which is why the blood starts to boil, right? We have all these terms to describe this moment of being mad, okay? I don't get too crazy into that. Let's go to the next one, all right? The next line and or doorway is, what are the signs of illness about? What is it about? What are these signs of illness or sickness or imbalance about? What is it about? Any indication or display of an uneasiness is the end result and outcome of a loss of control and a loss of self-discipline. That's it. That's what any display or any indication of an uneasiness in the body and showing itself on the body. When you see these, when you feel this, and you start to see certain things, this is just the end result and outcome from a loss of control and lack of self-discipline. That's it. When this happens, with keeping in mind that you are a creator that creates, you are a creator which creates, keeping this in mind, when this happens, it's evidence and potential of a created agent perfecting itself into a perfected agent. And this perfecting state is the unconscious rhythm of repetition and habit. Be aware of your cycles, your psychosis, and your psychology. Be aware of your cycles, how many times you do something. You do it every other day, every other hour, every other week, every 3 days, every 4 days. You find yourself angry every 10 days. You find yourself pissed off every 22 days. Be aware of your cycles, your psychosis, and your psychology, how you think. You have to be aware of these things. And the reason why you could even see these things or detect these things, which you can, means that you're not even your mind to begin with, which means that you're not even the cycles that you keep on repetitiously doing. And you're falling into that possession unconsciously over and over and over again. It becomes a habit, it becomes a cycle. This life, this present life that we are in, is based upon cycles and cyclic nature, which is why our eye is a pupil, is a circle. The iris is a circle. This is a cycle. We are in a cycle, which is why when you fall victim to the cycle, you go psycho. So we're never too far from being psychos. because this reality which we are presently within is based upon cycles. So we unconsciously live throughout a cyclic nature of being. Okay. So once again, any uneasiness or occasional display of uneasiness is just the end result and outcome of loss of control and lack of self-discipline. That's it. Um, when this happens, with keeping in mind that you are a creator that creates all the time, it's evidence and potential of a created agent perfecting itself into a perfected agent. See, something is trying to create itself and it's trying to perfect itself because you are a creator, which means that you are composed of creating qualities. You have creative qualities, qualities that create and keep on creating, whether you know it or not, because you are a creator. So when you start to create this mindset, you have just created a created agent. And that created agent is constantly looking to feed itself, to empower itself, to enhance itself. And that created agent on its own, whether you know it or not, it's happening in that moment, is creating more and more scenarios and circumstances and situations to unfold to perfect itself to become and graduate into a perfected agent. See, this is what's going on. This is principle. And just to touch back upon what I was talking about before with the first line of doorway, when I said, to make it real clear, when I said, what is illness really, really, to keep this in mind, not to go off the topic of where I'm at the moment, but I meant to say this before. What is illness really? Illness or imbalance is just means voluntary favorism. Stop being in favor of one side and the other. You have to cater to both sides of your nature. So even when you're pissed off, you have to also find the joy within you. When you're off balance, you have to find that balance again. When you're off center, you also have to acknowledge in that moment the centeredness that you were or once were, or know that you have access to and can actually activate whenever you feel like activating it. This is what makes you a God. And this aspect of understanding is whenever you're in a certain kind of polarity or one side of something in a certain moment, it's a certain possession, whether it's joy or whether it's, you know, madness of some sort. When you're in madness, you better acknowledge joy. When you're in joy, you better acknowledge the mad side as well. This is what keeps the balance. See, because joy is a possession. Madness is a possession. These are possessions, which is why we get so engulfed in these moments, in these states at these times, around people, around our spouse, around kids, around family, wherever, publicly and private. We get so possessed by that moment, and that moment seems like it's the only thing kicking. It's the only thing in existence. It's the only thing that's of any value. It grabs all your attention, makes you acknowledgement, consumes you, and you get engulfed within this moment because it's such a possession. It's trying to validate its polarity, but understand that each polarity is nothing but an illusion to begin with. So when you give one polarity attention, it pulls you to it. And then you forget about this, which is imbalance. Like these pictures behind me. You have the moon here, and then you have the sun here. Why would you pay attention to only the morning and not pay attention to the nighttime? Or the morning and not the evening? Or just be engulfed in the evening and don't give any acknowledgement to the morning? Even these qualities are things within your system. During the daytime, in the morning, you have melatonin that kicks in the body. During nighttime, you have serotonin in the morning with the sun. Serotonin with the sun. This is a chemical reaction, right? This is a phenomenal occurrence taking place. During the sun, you have something in the body that creates a chemical called serotonin. During the moon hours, you have a chemical reaction in the body that creates melatonin. Both of these have different purposes, but it's all both of these polarities are still chemical reactions within the one you, which is the balance, which is the bolt in the middle of the plank of the seesaw. You see, you stay in the middle. You stay in the corpus callosum, not the left brain and right brain hemisphere. That's why it's split, because it's a game. And when you go to one side, then you become split within yourself. So the whole point is acknowledging both sides. That's what health is. Health is that. Illness is that. Same damn thing. Okay? You can't be too healthy without being ill. How do you notice health? That means that you're a little ill in some way. How do you notice illness? That means that you're healthy in some way. No matter how you look at it, one side validates the other. There is no self validation. One side just validates itself. No. How are you able to see both sides? Okay. The next line in the doorway is locations and spots. Be aware of locations and spots in the body where these things are at. And it always tells you by feeling, by how something may look. And also, just make this real quick, this point. Be aware of what locations and spots on your body where your pets, pardon me, rub up against and lick. Be aware of what locations and spots on your body where your pets rub up against you and lick on you. This shows which organs, systems, and body parts are overstimulated or affected or afflicted with too much brain play, judgment, emotional trauma. So once again, be aware of what locations and spots that your pets rub up against and they lick against. They lick your knee, they, rub up against your legs. Your dog may lick your shoulder, your knuckle, like whatever's going on. Your cat may, rub up against your ankle for some damn reason, or lick your ankle and rub up against your shin. They do these things for a reason. I'm gonna explain why. Be aware where your pets rub up against and lick. This alone shows the licking and the rubbing alone from the pets show which organs, systems, and body parts are either overstimulated or affected or afflicted with too much brain play, which is judgment and or emotional trauma. Now, this is the difference between cats and dogs. Cats and dogs. Cats lick and rub against static. I don't know if you ever, when I was a child, I did that. I don't know why. I did some silly shit when I was a child. I just was curious. I bit aluminum foil, which is one of the worst feelings you can do, or worst feelings you can feel, because it feels so weird and it's very uncomfortable for the teeth and everything. It's just real weird. And another weird thing I did at one time, I think I was just showing my cousin playing games, just trying to be, stupid and funny. I grabbed the battery and I licked the battery, the top of the battery, and the bottom of the battery, just to do it to, just playing games when I was young. And it left such a weird static feeling on my tongue that made my body, I just shook. It was very weird. It was like a staticky feeling. Going back, I say that to say this is that cats lick and rub against static. So their tongue and body is directly connected to the lymphatic system. Cats lick and rub against things that are static related. So their tongue and body is directly connected to your lymphatic system. Dogs lick and rub against temperature, which means something underneath that specific surface location is trying to externalize its expressive nature. So their tongue and body is directly connected to the immune system. Okay? Cats are drawn to static, which is your lymphatic system. It's connected to your lymphatic system. And dogs they lick and rub against and are drawn to temperature, which is basically directly connected to your immune system. Both the lymphatic system and immune systems are a direct cause from the effect of the nervous system in a certain schismic state of favoritism. Both of these things go back and forth. So both your lymphatic system and your immune system are a direct connection and a derivative of the immune system, which is the health. See, so, and then, pardon me, the lymphatic system and the immune system are a direct cause from the effect, from an effect of the nervous system. See, so this is where the nerves, there's certain things start happening, where certain schisms start happening within the immune system, and then it shows on the lymphatic system, which is the static system. Okay, so just keep these things in mind. Where your cats may lick and rub against in your body, and with your dogs may lick and rub against in your body. One is immune, one is more drawn to static, the other one is more drawn to temperature. Okay, and this shows you just where inside your body an imbalance may be present within that moment. Okay, the next line in our doorway is okay. The next line in our doorway is explain the process metaphysically, right? So it's like someone's asking me a question. Okay, I hear what you're saying, bro. I hear what you're saying, family. But explain the process to me metaphysically. Explain this process metaphysically to me, if you don't mind. Sure, no problem. Give me 1 second, real quick. Be right back. All right. Commercial break is over. Back to the scheduled program. Explain the process metaphysically, Blue. Sure. Life form as a thing, as a program, feeds off of life force. So life form as the thing that is a program, it's something which is as itself, feeds off of life force being a thing of itself, or the potential deprogrammer and reprogrammer. The life force is the potential deprogrammer and reprogrammer, which is something which is of itself. Life form is a thing which is as itself. It's a program. This is when things take form, when vibe turns into chemical. See, mind and action, body and reaction, vibe and chemical. Chemical is known as the life form. The mind is the life force. See, so nothing really has to take form unless you point your force towards that, or point your energy towards that and create a force. A force is created from pressure. Pressure is created due from intent. So intent, pressure, energy, intent, pressure, force, form. Okay? So life form as a thing, a program, feeds off of life force, the potential deprogrammer and reprogrammer of something, of someone, of a being. The thing which is a form or forming seeks to eventually trade places with you, turning you into the program and itself into a conscious programmed intelligence. You see, it's trying to turn you into something else. So something which is conscious as itself is trying to trade places with you, the conscious thing which is conscious of itself. So the life form, when this form begins, when this chemical reaction begins and this form manifests as the chemical reaction, or yeah, as the chemical reaction or the coagulation and orchestration of chemical reaction taking place, this form manifests itself. When this form gets there, that is once again the beginning of psychological turmoil, which creates what we know and identify as cyclic nature or being cyclic or cycle minded habits, creating habits again in a circle with yourself again, driving yourself crazy, soon to be going mad because the life form has traded places with the life force. Therefore, now you, the life, the force of life, don't even have access to your life force anymore because you have created a life form. And that life form has its own unconscious kind of sort of intelligence of itself, of its own. And it's trying to trade itself as the unconscious intelligence with you being the conscious intelligence to trade itself for you so it can become a conscious intelligence and then you now become an unconscious intelligence. See, this is why people lose control and lack self-discipline. They now have become the life form. They now have become the program. You see, they now fall victim to the chemical which created itself within their body. You're no longer responsive, you're reactionary. You're no longer conscious. You now have a nature of being completely compulsive. Okay? So this is how the process is explained metaphysically. Okay? Go to the next doorway, next line of doorway. The next line in our doorway is, how does illness progress? How does it progress? How does sickness progress itself? How does it progress? How does sickness progress? What's the progressing stage of it? Stages of it? Well, dealing with starting from a situation. Let's just say the situation is the first thing. Something happens in the situation, right? Situation, then chemistry. After chemistry comes the feeling. There can be feeling, then the chemistry as well, too. So it can be situation, chemistry, then feeling, or situation, feeling, then chemistry. From that, a thought creates itself. After the thought creates itself in the brain, it falls into the bloodstream. It goes into the bloodstream, goes into the chemical, creating an alchemy. So, situation, chemistry, or situation, feeling, chemistry, thought, bloodstream, alchemy, right? When that alchemy is created within the body, that creates a certain kind of beat, a heartbeat, a specific beating of the heart, which matches the alchemy in the blood, the bloodstream, and the thought being held in place by the mind of the being. After the heartbeat comes the pulse, which is what I call the five, once again, the five manifestations, the five vibrations of manifestation. After the heartbeat comes the pulse, wave, rhythm, and vibration. Once you get to the vibration, it becomes a spirit. Because, like, once again, what I talked about before, what is the soul and what is the spirit, the understanding of the soul and the spirit. The spirit is the vibration being held in place. So the five vibrations of manifestation: beat, pulse, wave, rhythm, vibration. Beat, pulse, wave, rhythm, vibration. Okay? Five things. So once it gets to vibration, it becomes a spirit. You become the spirit of anger. You become the spirit of madness. You become the spirit of hatred. You see, I'm making what we know as spirit a little more understandable, a little more simple to understand. So now you become the vibration of these things that were held in place that was once a thought that turned into the chemistry, that got into the chemical, that became alchemy, that now sits in the bloodstream. You see, the feeling is keeping it in place. It's making it real because what's real is what you can feel. That's what's real. So if you can feel mad, you can feel anger, you can feel all these things, hatred, it becomes real. This feeling is the reeling in. So that feeling just reels you in. And to feel is what is real, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was even real to begin with. You make it real and you keep it real. So therefore, you become this vibration now being in place, which now you become the spirit of it, and you start to leave your home. You you don't only create the spirit within your vibration, but you also create a certain kind of poltergeist-like spirit in your home. Your home begins to react in certain ways. Like if you don't like the person and you have pictures of you and the person at one time you were laughing and having a good time somewhere on the vacation, or in a different kind of state of mind with the person that you love or share your life with, your spouse, your mate, your wife, your husband, your man, your woman, your partner, your creation, most importantly. Pictures will start to fall from the wall. Things that they gave you will start to fall off the dresser and break and crack on the floor. Frames will get shattered out of nowhere. You just be sleeping, you hear some shit drop. And it's shattered glass, and it's from a picture frame that it was you and your mate smiling, or on a vacation, or having a good time somewhere. Things start to fall, things start to crash, things start to crack and shatter, because now you are the spirit of hatred or dislike or not liking or sourness. Your home becomes the spirit of your body, because remember, your home is your hum, or your That's why home and is the same thing. And you in your body. So when you're in your home is also a body or an embodiment that mimics the body that you are, projecting that reality around you because you're keeping it in existence and experience within you. Remember, you are a creator and you create. You are a magician. You are an illusionist. And you're a realist as well. Vibration, spirit. When it gets to spirit, animation. And you start to animate being mad all the time. Cursing, screaming, yelling, losing your cool, losing your mind, getting pissed off, punching things, kicking things, walking hard on the floor, slamming doors, putting cups hard on the table. You start to be this hard force. You're no longer soft and sensitive to the energies that be. Therefore, you can't listen. You can't hear the message being coming through anymore. You're too loud, not only on the outside, but you're loud also on the inside. You don't hear that your soul speaking to you. You don't hear your message no more. You don't hear your calling anymore. You're off the path. See, you've aborted your mission, spiritual mission. Spirit, animation, personality, then behavior. Once again, this is how sickness progresses. These are the stages of development of sickness. So you have to be sensitive, you have to be aware, you have to be still, and you have to be silent to recognize and identify these progressive states of development. Situation, chemistry, situation, feeling, then chemistry, then thought, then bloodstream, then alchemy, then the heartbeat, then the pulse, then the wave, then the rhythm, then the vibration, then the spirit, then the animation, then the personality, and then the behavior. When these 15 things are set in place and you ain't stopping at 2, or you ain't stopping at 5, or you ain't stopping at 8, or you ain't stopping at 12, or you ain't stopping at 14, you're finished. You are now fully possessed. And you're going to need a serious exorcist to exorcise you out of that. You're going to need a serious exorcism is going to have to be taking place. And that exorcism primarily is really you. Your exorcist is what you call your awareness, what you know as your awareness. That's your only true exorcist. That's the only true exorcism that's going to take place to exorcise you out of that possession, which means that you have to have some control and self-discipline and knowledge of self as well. And you have to not only just know this, but you have to apply this shit. You have to incorporate it in your life, and then you have to apply it. Okay? The next line in doorway is, what is sickness connected to? What is an illness or sickness within somebody, as somebody connected to? What is it connected to? What is keeping this thing in place? How is it remaining in place? Well, you have to understand what it's connected to. Your sickness or illness, or anyone's sickness or illness, is connected to what we know as calendar dates, certain dates when, or a date when, a time or a day that you knew that you had something going on, something was off about you. So it's connected to a certain date on the calendar. It's also connected to people, certain people that you've talked to, people you've talked to and told your sickness to. It's connected to that person or those people. It keeps itself connected like a web to different things to keep itself in place within you. Okay? Calendar dates, people, seasons, which is basically scenery and views, is connected to something that you've seen or a season that was present when you felt this imbalance within you. So it's connected to calendar dates, people, seasons, holidays. Certain holidays, maybe it was Christmas when you felt like, you was losing your mind, or it's a sickness or illness and something is going on inside your embodiment. And it could be a season, it could be during Halloween, it could be whatever, Thanksgiving, Labor Day, whatever. It was a holiday it's connected to as well. It's also connected to atmosphere in the place. Atmosphere or place. The place was sick, the place where the sickness or illness occurred at, or where it showed itself, or where you identified it. In a certain kind of atmosphere place. It could be a park, it could be in a certain car, it could be in somebody's home, a certain place in the home, or the bathroom, or the bedroom, or the living room. It could be, it's connected to these things. And it's also connected to foods, meaning foods that you ate and drank during that sickness. So these are just a few things that the sickness or the illness or the imbalance is directly connected to, correlated with it. It's in touch. These things keep it afloat. These things keep it present, along with your state of mind, along with your loss of control, along with your lack of self-discipline. So it's connected to 6 things so far that I've just touched upon real quick. Calendar dates, which are certain days, people that you shared and talked about it to, seasons, things that you've seen, and things that you've seen and views that you have seen, a waterfall or a building that you always drive past every day, or a school when you, or whatever, business building, a store, anything. Holidays, which is nothing but feelings and memories it's connected to. See, holidays brings up feelings and memories. So it's connected, your sickness, illness on balance is connected to a certain kind of feeling and memory within you. If you are still bringing up that same feeling and memory, it will remain in place. Atmospheres and places, the places where sickness occurred at or the imbalance was identified, and foods that you ate and drank during that sickness when you first identified that a sickness or illness or an imbalance or something was off about you in that moment. Okay, so these six things it's connected to. This is what this sickness is connected to, or one sickness is connected to. Okay, next line in Dory is, why does it remain? Why does what we know as sickness or illness remain? Why doesn't it just go? Why does it remain? It remains present due to reoccurrence or a reoccurring. It's like I said before. And what is sickness connected to? The next thing is, why does it remain? Why does this thing keep remaining? People ask themselves. Well, it remains present due to the principle of reoccurrence and the principle of reoccurring. Place, people, diet. A reoccurring or a reoccurrence of a place, a reoccurring or a reoccurrence of people, or a reoccurring and a reoccurrence of a certain diet. It's a program being subconsciously held in place and space. Once again, sickness, illness, imbalance, something off about you, within you, is nothing but a program. Once you deprogram and reprogram, the imbalance disappears. It vanishes immediately, which means once you get once you have self-control, and now you are disciplined of self, and you begin to apply that knowledge and put it into action, that force that comes from that action immediately eliminates the form that was prior to it, which means you no longer have an imbalance. You're no longer a program. You are now the deprogrammer and reprogrammer. You now claim your body and mind back. Okay? So that's what it's connected to, and that's why it remains. The next line in Odori is, where does it reside? Where does sickness and illness reside at? Where does it reside at? It resides within muscle memory. Just one of the places, muscle memory. Facial expressions, stances, poses, and positions. You created a strength for it. So certain facial expressions that you make, facial muscles that you make, poses, stances, sitting positions, standing positions, these things is where the illness or sickness or imbalance or offness about you and your chemistry in your mind, this is where, not your mind, your brain, this is where it resides. These are just a couple spots of where it resides within. It resides within facial expressions, stances, poses, and positions. And by doing these things repetitiously, you create a certain strength for it. And whatever you're creating a strength for, you become the weakness to it. Okay? This is just metaphysics. This is understanding the nature and principle of polarity. Okay? The next line in the doorway is how to get rid of illness. How does one get rid of illness? Everything your personality likes holding on to become mad, angry, agitated, and frustrated, you have to let it go immediately. Do not acknowledge it. Experience it, but do not put it into animation. This is a practice of letting go of stagnant energies inside your body, organs, and muscles, but first within your mind. Within your practice, within your application, you have to apply what you know. It's not just about knowing. Knowing is looking for action. Action has to create the force to eliminate the form. Okay? Your spirit becomes the host or hostage of your vibrational possession. So you have to start at vibration and work your way backwards, back inner, within or inside self. So once again, the list before when I said how sickness progresses: situation, feeling, chemistry, thought, bloodstream, alchemy, heartbeat, pulse, wave, rhythm, then vibration. When it gets to vibration, then you have become a spirit of it. So now what this is saying, how to get rid of illness, your spirit becomes the host or hostage of your vibrational possession, which means of your spiritual possession that you have now created and are strengthening. So you have to now start at the vibrational point, which is the spiritual point, and work your way backwards, back inner, to become innate, back into the inner self. So now you work backwards from the list: vibration, rhythm, wave, pulse, heartbeat, alchemy, bloodstream, thought, chemistry, feeling, situation. So you have to create your situation. You have to alter it. You have to do different things, sit differently, talk differently, even speak differently. Look at certain movies that you wouldn't normally look at. Listen to certain music that you don't really listen to. You know, engage with different people that it's not connected to. See, this is certain things. Okay. Next line in the doorway is, how can I get healthy? That's what people ask. How can I get healthy? You know, the first thing I say is, first of all, you can't heal or get healthy. Your body is always healthy and in the process of healing. You can only create illness or imbalance. You can't create health. Let me say this one more time. You cannot heal or get healthy. Your body is always healthy and in the process of healing, which is healing itself, or what you call cell regeneration. It's always in the process of cell regeneration. You can't say, how can I regenerate my cell? It's always in a process of cell regeneration. That's the process, the whole question of how can I heal? How can I be healthy? You can't be it because you are it. You can only be something other than it. You see? You can only create illness and imbalance. You cannot create health because you are health. You're constantly, your body, this is what your body's constantly doing, your embodiment, your organism, your avatar. You're constantly detoxifying and filtering and vibrating innards outwardly. This is what your embodiment, this is what your organism is constantly doing. That's the program, that's the natural program and principle of this body. This is what it does. It's constantly detoxifying and filtering and vibrating innards outwardly, which is why you're always pissing, you're always shitting, you're always sweating. It's constantly getting things out, even a fever, cold, whatever's going on. It's constantly sweating it out, spitting it out, pissing it out, shitting it out. It's getting it out the system. So there's always something inner, always finding itself as an outer. Okay? It's always in health. Everything is in a constant direction of out. Everything on is in a constant direction of off. And once again, I always give the example of a pencil holding the tip of a pencil or a pen, whatever. You're just holding the tip of a pen or a pencil and you're holding it there and you're standing still, but sooner or later it will just drop because there's an inner vibration vibrating outwardly that is always trying to get something on it, off it, or always trying to get something in it, out of it. So you can't get healthy. See, that is health. Your body is already programmed as the health intelligence or the intelligence of health. So understand that first and foremost. The next line of doorway is, how am I always healing? Give me an example. How am I always healing? You're telling me I'm always healing? How am I always healing? Explain that to me because I want to understand what you're saying. Okay? If you think you're not healing or in healing mode all the time, try this. Cut your finger with the blade of a knife. Cut the tip of your finger with a blade of a knife and tell me what immediately begins to happen to the cut on your finger. And this is not a question like a real actual question. This is a question that actually answers itself. It's a question and an answer at the same time. Because we all know that if we get a cut or a scrape or something on our knee or our hand, our arm, leg, face, chest, back, body, whatever on the body, it immediately begins to heal. It closes up, the blood coagulates, it closes up, scabs up, and when the skin is properly healed underneath the scab falls off. So this is how you're always healing. See? This is how you're always healing. That's the proof. Cut the tip of your finger with the tip of a blade of a knife and tell me what immediately begins to happen to the cut on the tip of your finger. This is how you know that you're always healing. You don't have to tell the body to heal. You don't have to learn how to be healthy. See? You don't have to start a healing process. It always is, always was, and always will be. Okay? Um Also a part of to understand how you can also how do I heal this or how do I get rid of illness or how do I do certain things to try to neutralize it because you can't it's not about getting rid of something. You can't get rid of illness or imbalance or sickness. There's no such thing as getting rid of something to that degree of understanding. You neutralize a situation, accept it and embrace it. That's how you neutralize it. But this is one way of doing it. You consciously move the heartbeat to the location where the indication or identity resides. You can move the heartbeat there. This is another. I'm just giving you a little fun fact on how to do something. If you move the heartbeat there, it automatically neutralizes. But you have to know how to move the heartbeat to these certain locations on the body and within the body to neutralize that situation going on in that present moment, in that specific location or spot on the body and or within the body. You consciously move the heartbeat to that location where the indication or identity resides. Feelings move you. Therefore, according to principle, what is felt can be moved. So you feel your heartbeat. So what is felt, you can move your heartbeat by pure intent alone, just by your intent. Since the heart itself is a pure and innocent apparatus, Wherever the beat is directed, purity and innocence follows. Understand what I just said? Say it one more time. Consciously move the heartbeat to the location where the indication or identity resides. Feelings move you, like the movie, like movies, they move you. A certain movie moves you, a certain part in the movie, certain songs move you, a feeling moves you, whether you're mad or happy, it moves you to some degree. You animate it to a certain degree. Feelings move you. Therefore, according to principle, whatever is felt can be moved. Understand that. You feel your heartbeat, correct? When you're still enough, you feel it. Therefore, you feel it, you can move it to wherever you want to move it to, wherever the spot, the location on the body is, and a present imbalance, where you detect a present imbalance in the moment. And you can move it by pure intent alone. Now, understand this: since the heart itself is a pure and innocent apparatus, it's just pure and innocent. It's not the brain, it's not split. There's no discernment or discrimination, right or wrong, good or bad. It's just pure it's pure innocence. Where the beat is directed from your intent, wherever you want on the body and in the body, purity and innocence follows. Purity and innocence is the neutralization of the imbalance in that present moment. Okay? We go to the next one. The next line and or doorway is, how does this damn list that? All right. What things instantly cure or remedy imbalance or illness in the body? What things? What things exactly instantly cure or remedy imbalance or illness? These are questions. I wrote these down as questions before I go and give the breakdown of what understanding of the metaphysical understanding according to principle. Intent, reason, and purpose. Oxygen and beat. Intent, reason, and purpose, which is all kind of one. Intent, reason, and purpose. You have an intent for a reason and for a specific purpose. So you have an intent, you hold an intent, and your intent is there for a certain reason to carry out a specific purpose. So intent, reason, and purpose is one. Oxygen, how you breathe, to massage, to open the lungs, to massage the heart in the middle, and beat, the beat that's being sent out from the intent, reason, purpose, the way you're breathing with the oxygen, and the beat that is pulsating throughout the body. These three phenomenons or three things are the epitome of purity and innocence, which means it arrives naturally with potential counteraction as one unitizing intelligence of pendulumology. And I don't even know if that's the damn word, pendulumology. I'm just talking about the pendulum. One unitizing intelligence of pendulumology, which means it's a back and forth. The pendulum swings back and forth. So it's always touching both sides. It's never just touching one side. It's never just favoring the moon or nighttime or the evening. It's never just favoring the sun or the morning time. It's constantly touching both. It's a pendulum rocking back and forth. And this is one unitizing intelligence of pendulumology, which is basically purity and innocence deriving from the beat that's taking place from the breathing of the oxygen behind or in front of the intent, reason, and purpose for whatever agenda that you want to carry out. Whether it's, I want to be balanced, I don't want to be so mad right now at this moment, I want to chill, I want to cool off, I want to relax, I want to be centered, whatever you want. These three phenomenons or three things are the epitome of purity and innocence, which means it arrives naturally with potential counteraction as one unitizing intelligence of pendulumology. Okay? So all you have to do is bring the beat. In other words, the heartbeat is purity and innocence. This alone is a neutralization. You can bring the beat anywhere. It's purity and innocence. And purity and innocence is touching upon both sides of the polarity all the time to keep the middle thing in place. Okay? The middle you in place. The next line in our doorway is, if I have enough room on this damn laptop at the moment, if it don't shut off. If it does, I'll just come back and just Only about 2 more points. Which chakra is my illness at? Which chakra is your illness at? You're dealing with the chakras, the 7 chakras. Which chakra does your illness or imbalance reside within, or reside at, or both? Understand this. Your ignorance shows your true age and level of chakra where you're truly at. Why? Because your ignorance makes you younger and more immature than your age and present state of self. You're always at a lower or higher nature. You're just trying to find out where you operate in both of these natures. That's the whole understanding. To understand that you're both the lower and the higher aspects of this reality. You're not just some higher being living in the higher nature of understanding of things. You're not just this lower demonic thing of existence. You're not just good and not bad, or just bad and not good. You're both good and bad. You're both heaven and hell. You're both what you want to call God and devil. Wrong and right. Even when you're right, you're wrong. Even when you're wrong, you're right. It doesn't matter. So you're both of these things. But understand that when it comes to chakra understanding, the more ignorant you are of your true nature, your ignorance shows your true age and your true level of the location of your chakra where you're truly at. Your ignorance makes you younger and more immature than your age and present state of self. So you can be 30 or 35, but if you're immature and not mature, you haven't fully matured or developed consciously and spiritually, knowledge-wise, which is self-control and discipline as well, and you still act like how you act when you were 18, then you're not really 35. In actuality, literally, you're 18 years old. And if you haven't forgave something that happened to you when you were 18, I don't care if you're 50, you're 18 years old. 50 just means solar revolutions. Just how many times the sun and the earth make its rotation around each other, whatever. That's all that means. That's not age, but let's just say it's age at the moment. I'm gonna entertain that at the moment. This is where you find what chakra you're stuck at. You have kid, preteen, teen, teenager, pre-adult. You have all these different stages, and each chakra, the first chakra is 7. Each chakra is known as 7 years, which is why it goes all the way to 49. You have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, which is the first chakra, second chakra, third chakra, fourth chakra, fifth chakra, sixth chakra, seventh chakra. They're all 7s, so 7 times 7 is 49. So from the age of 1 to 49, or from the age of 7, pardon me, to 49, which is from 1 to 7, but from 7 to 49, this is where you find out where you're stuck at. And even if you're 49 years old, but you haven't yet forgave something when happened to you when you were 15, then you're actually 15 years old. You're not 49. And 15 or 14, which is the second chakra, is where you're actually stuck at. You may be the 49 years old in the 7th chakra section, but you're not at the 7th chakra because you haven't forgave something that happened to you when you were 14. You haven't got over it. You haven't faced it. You haven't neutralized it. You haven't balanced it out with understanding and knowledge and acceptance and embrace. You haven't gave it that pure and innocence. Therefore, even if you're 49 years old, you're not at the 7th chakra. You're not at the 49 Godhead. You're still at the 2nd chakra, which is the orange chakra. You're still 14 years old. Okay, this is where you know where your sickness or your illness or your imbalance resides at. Only 2 more left. The next line in our doorway is, God damn, all these damn pages. The heart is a brain as well? And that's the question I titled this next line in doorway. The heart is a brain as well? Yes, the heart is a brain as well. You have 3 brains in your body. Bang, bang, bang. Okay? The heart is the second braining chamber, but it's the purest brain chamber. Once again, the heart is the second braining chamber, but it's the purest brain chamber, a whole or full embodiment, meaning there is no split or splitting intelligence to its natural function. It's not split like the brain, the left brain and right brain hemisphere. It's not split. So it has a whole, full, embodied intelligence. Okay? There is no split or splitting intelligence to its natural function. There is no hemispheric parallel to its guiding and directing, discrimination, and discernment. Oh, to its guiding and directing. There's no hemispheric parallel, like the left brain hemisphere and the right brain hemisphere. There has no parallel of hemispheres. So it has no hemispheric parallel to its guiding and directing. Discrimination and discernment is not of its origin or its nature. This is why I say move that heartbeat, pure and innocent, purity and innocent, to where things may not be as pure and innocent at the moment, to create neutralization. Meaning that when the first brain, which is inside the skull, fails you or is failing you or begins to fail you, dealing with judgment, good and wrong, good and bad, yeah, good and wrong, if you want right and wrong, good and bad, you're stuck on one of these sides. When this brain and this skull, the first brain starts to fail you, then you need to resort and redirect acknowledgement and attention to the second brain, which is the heart. If you're stagnant within the realm of judgment and or morals and don't want to be there anymore or give power to that anymore or choose rather to not serve that anymore because it does not serve you according to how you want to be, then you need to seek residence in the heart and become resonance of the beat. So when you no longer want to play in the realm of judgment and morals and don't want to be there anymore, give power to that anymore, or serve that anymore, then you need, which is this, the brain, judgment. They're bad, I'm good. They're wrong, I'm right. They're ugly, I'm pretty. All that crap. Um, all that, uh, whatever. Then you need to seek residence in the heart and become resonance of the beat. The beat itself is medicine, or the middle sign, or the median, or the mediator. It puts the principal intelligence of middle or involuntary middling back into the groove and vanishes the illusion of voluntary side picking. A brain or braining device is something which is subject to a specific imprint and embedding which took place at a specific time, place, and space, with a specific action, feeling, and mindset that becomes recorded and rotated whenever triggered by a specific signature. You hear what I just said? A brain or braining device is something which is subject to a specific imprint and embedding, which is the brain, which took place at a specific time, place, and space, with a specific action, feeling, and mindset that becomes recorded and then rotated whenever triggered by a relative specific signature. Which is why I say reoccurrence and reoccurring, get out that program. And the last doorway is the last doorway here. Okay. Oh, the last, well, not the last, second to last. Also, this understanding. Why should I pronounce words without vowels? Why should I practice pronouncing words without vowels? Vowels was known as the English language, according to certain understandings, is known as a dead language because it has vowels in between letters, in between spaces of one letter to the next, it has a vowel. But if you take the vowel out, it sounds like a vibration. Like if you look at the word mother and you take the vowel of O and E out the word mother, you have mother, 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 mother. That vibration is the spirit. So you can create your own spirit, but if you're speaking a dead language, which is a dead body, how can a spirit encapsulate a dead body or a dead language? So this is just one way of course, another way of looking at it, neutralize to create balance again within yourself, is to sometimes pronounce words without vowels, like the ancestors did, like certain ancestors did, and certain even till this day, other countries and continents of certain people of certain language, indigenous peoples do not have vowels in their language. There is no such thing as a vowel in their language, which is why they're always vibrating. And they're vibrating and they're creating certain neck muscles and certain muscles in the, certain neck muscles and upper chest muscles and certain muscles start to develop within the body that support this vibration of sound, this conduction of sound to manifest a certain kind of spirit created with the intent and pronunciation of the word and language. See, so when you're in the right space of mind, the right state of mind, you may want to practice saying certain words without vowels and have a certain kind of pure intent in mind. That way, when you speak these words without vowels and you are speaking or pronouncing vibrations, you're bringing an intent and a spirit, and you're creating a spirit of purity and innocence and balance and neutralization to whatever location or spot within the body, wherever the imbalance or illness or sickness resides at in that moment. Okay, certain things to keep in mind. And the last but not least is just solutions. What are some solutions to this? Look at spirals and incompleted shapes. Sometimes you may want to look at or stare at certain things. Spirals, which is not a completed circle, because a circle is a cycle. You want to look at a spiral that may go in or a spiral that may go out and bigger. Look at spirals and look at incompleted shapes and incompleted letters. There's no completion. So there's no perfect thing. There's no perfected agent. There's nothing perfect. It's always in perfecting mode. That way it keeps you mentally in perfecting yourself. It doesn't keep you in a circle or a cycle. I said before, look to and watch music and programs you don't regularly give attention to. Balance is in direct communication with imbalance. Be aware when the balancing intelligence is communicating to you through the medicine of principles and possible principle incorporation to bring about balance again, primarily mentally. These principles of balance and counteraction happen so silently, subtly, and subliminally in the smallest, quickest things that you do and you do not notice. Mostly during house chores, reorganization, cleaning, with each other, and it's 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 just things that happen so silently and so subtly. These little things that we do, these little chores or responsibilities that we may be taking care of. These are like it happens very subtly. These imbalances, and you have to be aware of at these times. Principles are an intelligence of its own. Be aware when each and every opportunity arises. Okay. Another solution is when in an imbalanced or possessed state of mind in a moment. Do the total opposite action of that specific intention and guidance. If you say, yo, I'm pissed off at her, I don't like him, I'm mad at him, I'm not doing it, I don't care what he's I'm not talking to him. What you need to do is go out and get him something. What you need to do is go out and buy her something. Because that's not what you want to do, right? That's what the ego is saying. That's what that present personality and possession and spirit is saying to do. So you need to do the total opposite if you do not want to become that vibration or that possession or that personality or that character and keep indulging in that same destructive behavior. Do the total opposite to kill that ego before it tries to manifest itself. And the last solution is find an interest in some field of study dealing with the unseen, hidden, mysterious, invisible, obscure, subtle, subliminal, and transparent natures of your existence and your experience. Why? Why do I need to find an interest in some field of study dealing with these things? How is that a certain kind of solution? You start to dive in principle. Once again, so like I told you, principle is opposite of personal. Principle is invisible, which is why I say find an interest in some field of study dealing with the unseen, the hidden, the mysterious, the invisible, the obscure, the subtle, the subliminal, the transparent natures of your existence and of your experience. Therefore, you're not so personal, and you're acknowledging principle, incorporating it into your life, and applying the proper action to receive the balanced outcome. Am I as I am, as you are? I'll see you guys next time. And until then, keep your vision. Or let me say, Kima, Kimah. I'll keep you in mind and heart. 1, 0. Should I say 0? Like the moon, son. Let me stop playing. Next time. 1, 0.